The summary of Chapter 6: The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, written by Mark Twain. It was a bright and sunny Saturday afternoon, but the village did not feel happy at all. Instead, everyone was very sad and quiet. The families of the missing boys, especially the Harpers and Aunt Polly's family, were full of grief and sorrow. Even the children, who usually enjoyed their holidays, were not playing or laughing. Becky Thatcher was also very unhappy. She walked alone in the empty schoolyard and regretted her behavior towards Tom. She felt sorry that she had been rude to him, and now she believed she would never see him again to say sorry. The next morning, after Sunday school, the church bell rang slowly and sadly, just like it does for a funeral. The whole village gathered in the church. People spoke in low whispers, and there was a heavy silence everywhere. The church was completely full, more than ever before. Aunt Polly entered the church with Sid and Mary, and the Harper family came dressed in black clothes. Everyone stood up quietly as they walked to their seats. Many people were crying. The minister began to pray, and then everyone sang a sad hymn. After that, the minister gave a speech about the poor dead boys, and everyone became even more emotional. Tears were everywhere, and the whole atmosphere was very painful. Suddenly, there was a noise at the church door. The minister looked up in surprise. One by one, people turned around to see what was happening. Then something shocking happened. The three boys who were believed to be dead walked into the church alive. Tom was leading, and Joe and Huck followed him. They had secretly been hiding at the back of the church and were listening to their own funeral. At once, Aunt Polly, Mary, and the Harper family ran towards the boys. They hugged and kissed them with great love and happiness. Everyone was now filled with joy instead of sadness. However, Huck stood alone because he had no family. He felt shy and uncomfortable. He tried to move away, but Tom stopped him and reminded Aunt Polly that someone should be happy to see Huck too. Aunt Polly kindly hugged Huck and showed him love, which made Huck feel strange but cared for. The minister then loudly told everyone to thank God by singing a happy hymn. This time, the whole church sang with full hearts, full of joy and relief. After this, when Tom returned to school, he became very famous among the children. All the students talked about his adventure and secretly wished they could have such an exciting experience too. Time passed, and the school term ended. Holidays began. Tom and Becky became friends again and played happily together. But soon Becky went away to another place with her parents. After that, Tom became sick with a fever and stayed ill for 3 weeks. The trial begins. Soon, a very important event started in the village, the trial of Muff Potter, who was accused of killing Dr. Robinson. Everyone in the village talked about it. Tom felt very worried and afraid because he knew the truth. He met Huck secretly and asked if he had told anyone about what they had seen. Huck promised that he had told no one. Both boys were very scared of Injun Joe because they knew he was dangerous. They again made a serious promise to keep the secret. Huck felt very sorry for Muff Potter. He believed that Muff Potter had no chance of escaping punishment. Tom also felt sad because Muff Potter had always been kind to him in the past. He had helped Tom many times. Tom wished they could do something to help him. The boys went to visit Muff Potter in the small prison. There were no guards, and they could easily talk to him through the window. They brought him small gifts like tobacco and matches. Muff Potter was very thankful and touched by their kindness. He said that the boys had been good to him, unlike other people who had forgotten him. He believed he had done something wrong and deserved punishment, even though he was innocent. He also warned the boys never to drink alcohol, because it had ruined his life. Tom felt very upset after this meeting. That night, he had bad dreams. For the next 2 days, he went near the courtroom but did not have the courage to go inside. He listened to people talking and became more afraid. It seemed that Injun Joe's false story was believed, and no one could prove him wrong. Everyone thought Muff Potter would be found guilty. Finally, the most important day of the trial arrived. The courtroom was full of people from the village. Everyone was waiting eagerly. Muff Potter was brought into the court. He looked weak, pale, and hopeless. People stared at him. Injun Joe was also present in the courtroom. Different witnesses spoke against Muff Potter. One man said he saw Potter washing himself on the night of the crime. Another said the knife was found near the body. A third said the knife belonged to Potter. The situation looked very bad for him, and his lawyer did not ask any questions at first. Then suddenly, Tom Sawyer's name was called. Everyone turned to look at him as he walked to the front. He took an oath to tell the truth. At first, Tom was very scared. He looked at Injun Joe and could hardly speak. But slowly, he gathered courage. He said he had been in the graveyard on the night of the murder. He explained that he was hiding behind trees and had gone there with a dead cat. People laughed a little at this strange detail, but the judge told them to be quiet. Then Tom began to tell the full story. At first, he spoke slowly, but then he became more confident. The whole courtroom became completely silent as everyone listened carefully. Tom explained that Dr. Robinson had hit Muff Potter, and Potter fell down. Then Injun Joe picked up the knife and committed the crime, blaming Muff Potter. At that very moment, before Tom could finish completely, Injun Joe suddenly jumped out of the window and escaped from the courtroom. Tom became a hero because he had told the truth and saved Muff Potter's life. Everyone in the village praised him and treated him kindly. However, Tom was not completely happy. At night, he had terrible dreams about Injun Joe, and he lived in fear. Huck was also very scared because they both knew Injun Joe might take revenge. Even though Tom was brave and honest, his life became more difficult because of the danger that followed. Now let's revise some important points to remember for MCQs from this chapter. Number 1. The village thought Tom, Joe, and Huck were dead. Number 2. The boys secretly attended their own funeral. Number 3. Tom reminded Aunt Polly to show kindness to Huck. Number 4. Muff Potter was innocent but accused of murder. Number 5. Tom and Huck were afraid of Injun Joe. Number 6. Tom finally told the truth in court. Number 7. Injun Joe escaped by jumping out of the window. Number 8. Tom became a hero but lived in fear afterward. Now let's revise some short questions and answers from this chapter. Question 1. Why was the village sad on Saturday afternoon? Because everyone thought Tom, Joe, and Huck were dead. Question 2. Why was Becky Thatcher unhappy? Because she felt sorry for being rude to Tom and thought she would never see him again. Question 3. Why did the church bell ring slowly? Because it was ringing for a funeral. Question 4. Who came to the church in black clothes? The Harper family and Aunt Polly's family. Question 5. What did the minister do in the church? He prayed, sang a hymn, and gave a sad speech about the boys. Question 6. What surprising thing happened during the funeral? Tom, Joe, and Huck entered the church alive. Question 7. Where had the boys been hiding? At the back of the church, listening to their own funeral. Question 8. How did the families react on seeing the boys? They hugged and kissed them with joy. Question 9. Why did Huck feel uncomfortable? Because he had no family to welcome him. Question 10. What did Tom say about Huck? He said someone should be glad to see Huck too. Question 11. How did Aunt Polly treat Huck? She hugged him and showed him kindness. Question 12. What did the minister ask everyone to do after the boys returned? To sing a hymn and thank God. Question 13. What happened when Tom returned to school? All children talked about his adventure and admired him. Question 14. What happened between Tom and Becky later? They became friends again. Question 15. Why did Becky leave Tom? She went away with her parents. Question 16. What happened to Tom after Becky left? He fell ill with a fever for 3 weeks. Question 17. Who was accused of murder? Muff Potter. Question 18. Whose murder was being discussed? Dr. Robinson's murder. Question 19. Why was Tom afraid? Because he knew the truth and feared Injun Joe. Question B's. What promise did Tom and Huck make? To never tell anyone about the murder. Question 21. Why did Huck feel sorry for Muff Potter? Because he believed Potter was innocent and helpless. Question 22. How had Muff Potter helped Tom before? He fixed his kites and helped him in fishing. Question 23. Where was Muff Potter kept? In a small prison room. Question 24. What did Tom and Huck give Muff Potter? Tobacco and matches. Question 25. What advice did Muff Potter give the boys? Never drink alcohol. Question 26. Why was Tom unhappy at night? Because he had bad dreams and felt guilty. Question 27. Why didn't Tom enter the courtroom at first? Because he was too afraid. Question 28. Why did people think Muff Potter was guilty? Because of false evidence and Injun Joe's story. Question 29. What happened on the final day of the trial? The courtroom was full of people. Question 30. How did Muff Potter look in court? Pale, weak, and hopeless. Question 31. Who was also present in court? Injun Joe. Question 32. What evidence was given against Muff Potter? Knife near the body and witnesses against him. Question 33. Who was called as a witness? Tom Sawyer. Question 34. Why was Tom nervous at first? Because he was afraid of Injun Joe. Question 35. Where was Tom on the night of the murder? In the graveyard. Question 36. Why did people laugh during Tom's statement? Because he mentioned carrying a dead cat. Question 37. What did Tom finally tell the court? The true story of the murder. Question 38. Who actually killed Dr. Robinson? Injun Joe. Question 39. What did Injun Joe do after Tom told the truth? He escaped by jumping out of the window. Question 40. Why did Tom become a hero? Because he saved Muff Potter by telling the truth. Question 41. How did people treat Tom after the trial? They praised and respected him. Question 42. Why was Tom still unhappy at night? Because he had nightmares about Injun Joe. Question 43. Why was Huck also afraid? Because he feared Injun Joe's revenge. Question 44. What had Tom done before the trial secretly? He told the lawyer the truth.